Now, fun time.
Fun time.
So Mike and
So
I think it was Mike who actually brought up this segment. He said, or it was me or you who started
I
it?
made a little controversial statement last night in terms of teams I hate, and Jeff didn't get it, so or wasn't really understanding of my hatred because it said the Pens and Islanders and all that.
Yeah,
And
so
that
we
got us thinking
decided,
of who our top 10 most hated teams are. We're
yes,
gonna
it
go
doesn't
from
have to be current teams. It can be past teams. It's basically just the franchise in general.
yeah. We're going 10
So,
and 10 first being the team we hate the most. Um, I think Jeff, I know who his is going to be, but mine it might.
wait, do you mean starting at,
We're starting 10-1, but one being the team we hate the most.
okay. Sorry, the way you worded it first sounded so weird.
Sorry,
All right, I want to hear
yeah,
your number 10.
my number 10. Ready for this?
Oh
The
boy.
Buffalo Sabres. I hate them. I've hated them since 2011, since that playoff series.
That's an interesting one. Because I've been looking at
They were the most
literally before.
pesky
Yeah.
teams from like the middle of the 2010s or whatever. And for some reason, I've always just kind of had a little hatred for them, for Buffalo, even though they're not really good, really at all right now.
Mhm.
Um, and I will be honest, a lot of that before was because of Vander Kane and the shit he would do. But they also have Okposo on there, and I don't like Okposo. So, and they also had Shiri. I just hate wherever Shiri goes.
I like it. You're gonna crack up at my number 10, and you might agree. The Anaheim Ducks,
I see it. I can
but
see it.
slash because of Corey Perry. I cannot stand that clown, and I slightly hate the Dallas Stars because Corey Perry is
Got it.
on that team.
I get
I
it.
hate Corey Perry with a passion. He
Ryan
used to be a great
Getzloff,
player.
Ryan Kessler. I get it. They have
Getzlov
some.
is a good player who I respect. Perry, I have no respect for at all.
Yeah, but they're
I
all
have
guys.
zero
They're all that same type
respect.
of player, though. That kind of
But
annoying.
Getzlov actually is not you know a jerk and actually
Okay.
makes controversial plays. He has his moments, but he's
Yeah,
not
Kessler.
nearly
Kessler is
annoying.
definitely that.
Kessler gets under your skin. By the way, fun fact: the Flyers nearly traded for Ryan Kessler all the way back in, I believe, 2007.
That would have helped them a while.
Oh yeah. Alrighty, number 9.
Only because we were just playing them. And I've always kind of had a little hatred for them. Montreal. I think a lot of people kind of had that because of a lot of the older fans because of a lot of the success from before times with Montreal. Montreal has just never been a big fan of. I always kind of hated them, a little pesky.
Mm-hmm.
As I've watched more of that series, I've grown to hate them more. The Flyers Canadian series, I've grown to like Gallagher less, Domi too at times. Even though Domi's one of those
That's
players that
fair.
would be that way, they're just not one of my. I don't like them.
That's fair.
And a lot of that's mostly. If it wasn't for this year, they would have been a little lower. But I think just because we were just playing them right now, they're at my
Yeah.
9. This is just going on mood and how I am today. My top 10 list will change all the time.
Yeah.
What's your number 9? I know you're having difficulties with the latter part
I'm
of this
changing
list.
things around a lot, even as we speak. So I now have 9 out of 10 teams on this list.
Okay.
You had 7 when we started. This one, I'll put it this way. I don't hate them as much now as what they were like before. The Edmonton Oilers coming in number 9 for me.
Okay.
This team was basically the juggernaut, the New York Yankees of the 80s. They were always winning, always getting the best players, and they were obviously I was nowhere near born, but just looking back at highlights, my dad told me all the stories about how the Oilers
You weren't
played.
born in the 80s?
No, I was born in 1990, as you can tell, Mike. I just missed the 80s, so.
Yeah, it took you a second to realize what years you were born.
No, I was trying to be sarcastic for a second.
Oh, got you.
Yeah. Anyway, it clearly failed.
Yes.
Anyway, so it was because of the 80s
I get that.
Edmonton Oilers that again, just and watching how they played their game and how good they were. But it was a team you love to hate because of how good they had Mark Messier,
I could
Yari
make
Curry,
an
Wayne
other argument
Gretzky.
for maybe an honorable team. I don't know if they're on your list or not, but the Colorado Avalanche in the '90s, they're other kind of pesky team. Are they on your list?
Surprisingly, no.
No, but
But
you could
the
also
way that the way they played, you could definitely argue
yeah
that between Colorado and Detroit, you could
yeah
probably argue that.
yeah
Neither of them are on my list.
yeah.
Yeah,
Now they're one of
but
none of those are on my list either. But I'm just saying you
no,
could.
but
That's an
no, that's a
honorable
great
mention,
point to make.
especially if you're an older hockey fan of the '90s or whatever, or that kind of time. Especially if you're a Red Wings fan.
Yes. Who's your number 8?
Number 8, the Columbus Blue Jackets, another team similar to the Islanders that are very boring and
Yeah.
even less talented than the Islanders. And that they've pretty much just have what's his name? Fuck.
Wait for Montreal. Or wow, Montreal. Columbus. Oh, Pierre-Luc Dubois.
Yeah, him. And obviously Seth Jones and Zach Werenski.
Dave John Tortorella.
I don't like him either.
That's another reason why I'm saying you don't like him. But no, there's actually a great article on The Athletic that goes over every one of Torts' incidents over his career, all of his fines and suspensions. It's really funny.
Yeah, and also when he first got to Columbus, they literally had a meeting with him saying, "Can you stop yelling at us? Because we don't like that. It's not helping."
Hold on, I gotta bring this up really quickly. Let me. So while you go a bit more to about Columbus and everything, let me find this article that was on The Athletic about John Tortorella. It is amazing.
I mean, my hatred for Columbus has definitely been more so of the more recent years because for the longest time they were kind of irrelevant outside of really Rick Nash. But after they got rid of Rick Nash, they were really nothing really. And then they still came up. It's surprising what they were able to do this year after losing so many pieces. But I mean, really, I know they're equally as boring as the Islanders, but you know, I like Seth Jones, so that gives me a little more.
Yeah,
that's why they're my number 8.
I love it. But so John Tortorella has a huge rap sheet. So recently he was just fined $25,000. Back in January, he was fined $20,000 for criticizing the refs, and they took the rare step was of issuing an additional $25,000 conditional fine that would be levied against Torts if he had any more incidents in the next year, which of course only lasted 8 months.
Transfer.
So
transfer.
I love
Come on,
it.
everyone. Transfer.
All right, you too. Drink.
Cage match.
All right, so number 8 again.
I think the Islanders and I need a cage match. So
yeah.
Of course, cage matches work.
If it didn't, they would still be in the cage.
Yeah. What's your number 8?
Again, a little bit now, but not nearly as much as it was back in the day. Montreal Canadiens, they were a pretty nasty team to play against.
They were.
A huge reason why I disliked them, again, back in the day, it was they took out, I think it was Chris Chelios, he took out Brian Propp in game 1 or 2 of that series. But my favorite moment, Ron Hextall knew the Flyers were about to get eliminated. Game 5, the puck went over by the Flyers' end. He skated all the way up against the board, met Chris Chelios, and sucker punched him right in the face with the blocker. Love it, Hexy. Absolutely love it.
Yeah.
But Montreal back then, they pissed me off. They really pissed me off, man.
I changed my list.
Boy.
Just because you reminded me of an older incident with the team I was going to be next, but they just moved up one.
I love it. I love it. I actually have it's a bizarre honorable mention for 1 year each, more specifically one series. Both the San Jose Sharks and Nashville Predators, because they did not defeat the Penguins in the Stanley Cup Finals. Like I said, it's a bizarre one, but because they did not defeat the Penguins, that they're on a 1-year list that I did not like them.
My number 7, only because more recently they've become irrelevant to me a little bit, just because they fell off a bit. But the New York Rangers, they're my number 7. I know other people may have them higher because it's the Rangers in New York, Philadelphia. They have a big rivalry.
In all sports.
Yeah, in all sports, even the ones where they don't play really. But yeah, I was talking about the Yankees.
Yeah. Oh, I was talking about the Mets. No one cares about the Yankees and the Phillies. It's all about the Mets and Phils.
That too. But the Rangers, to me, obviously, the many years before, even the early 2010s, when the Flyers always struggled with them, when McDonough was in his prime and shutting the Flyers down constantly, Hank shutting down the Flyers constantly. They've just always never been a top fan of mine.
Yeah.
And, they're getting back up there again for my hatred for them because of, dumbasses on their team. What's your number 7?
I actually just switched mine. I switched my 7 and 6 around.
I just did that.
Yeah. My number 7 team is the Washington Capitals.
Okay.
Again, kind of like you with the Rangers, they're kind of falling off a bit. They had some good moments, but it's not really the same. Their rivalry is kind of dying a bit.
It's still there.
It's still there, but it's not nearly the same.
Jeff. Is a team with Tom Wilson number your 7?
Oh, yeah, damn it, Mike! You had to remind me about that guy.
Yeah,
Tom Wilson alone's on my number 1 spot. He's an individual player, along with him and some other guys are technically my true number 1. But as a team, they're down. He's off on his own. He's on his own list. Yeah. But as a team, though, Washington, I don't have the same hatred for them as I used to.
Yeah.
Yeah. My number 6, you might not agree with me on this one, but I want to hear who you have for 6 first.
I have the Devils. That's my number 6. And as always, I mean, whenever the Flyers have played them, it's always been a bloodbath. And again, they're another team that have always been bored when the Flyers watch them. Even though it's a little exciting because, that's the one where they keep having that little rivalry going when there's a bunch of fights or something big happens, big hits, big something. Fucking not last year, the year before, the hit on Nolan Patrick. Oof.
Yeah.
Yeah. And obviously the biggest hit on fucking Lindros back in the 90s. That's why they moved up. You were talking before about the Montreal one, and that got me thinking about
you're welcome.
That one.
My number 6, you probably don't agree with me. You probably have them higher. I'm guessing in your top 3, Chicago Blackhawks.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Obviously 2010, but also they're just during their prime in the 3 cups in 6 years or whatever it was, 5 years even, I think. It was just so frustrating and annoying hearing every year Blackhawks are going to the conference finals. Blackhawks are in the Stanley Cup finals. Oh, Blackhawks win again.
Well, then you also had obviously Etzo, who's Blackhawks, and then you also had Pierre, who would always suck that dick of the fucking Blackhawks.
Well, all right. I gotta, I'm a little bit biased. I love Eddie Olczyk. I think Ed's a great guy.
I like him too.
Yeah, but you can almost argue that Jonesy's the same way. He's an NBC sports analyst.
I'm just saying before then. Nowadays, he's a lot more unbiased.
Okay, all right. I can kind of see that. That's fair.
I was saying back in the days of when they were really in their prime, the NBC.
All right,
there were a lot more moments of a lot of
where he was a little bit of a homer.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, that's fair.
But also this too, real quick. It sounds like he may be a favorite for that GM job in Florida Panthers
job, which is interesting. Also,
which could bump up Keith Jones to his spot,
which would be kind of cool. Jonesy does such a great job, and he's been doing a great job with the Flyers series. So, who's your number 5? I technically don't have one right now. I have my top 4 set, but number 5, I technically don't have one right now. But who's yours?
My number 5 is the Washington Capitals. Obviously, Tom Wilson and all that. They just annoy me. The stuff they do, the team themselves.
Yeah, that's fair.
They got rid of
I
Kevin, so my laugher is gone. But they do have Draco Gudis, so they have that
just
going
love
for them.
it.
I like that.
I mean, he's gonna be gone soon too. So
I know.
yeah.
And also
I
the
don't
obvious
really
one
have it.
of Tom Wilson there.
You know what? I'll put it this way. I'm gonna put my number 5 as just players all in one spot. Tom Wilson, Matt Cook, Ryan Reeves, Corey Perry. I'm trying to think else. Mainly those 4 guys, even though Matt Cook's been
Anton
relevant for
Roussels.
years. Anton Roussel. Oh, he's a good one. Probably Jay Beagle on that list as well. Matt Martin, Leo Komarov. A lot of anchors out there in the league. You know who you are. You take up my number 5 spot for the top 10 most hated teams. I know what I said, but you individually fill in that number 5 spot for me.
What's your top 4 if you can't think about 5?
It should be obvious at this point.
It should be, but I have a question mark on. Okay.
All right. Do we got to your 5, right? You see Caps, right?
Yeah, so the Caps.
Who's your 4?
I have the Islanders, which should obviously be obvious at this point because I've thrown this test for this team because of Lou Lamoriello. Your team has always been a laughingstock in the league, pretty much. Outside of those 4 years you won in a row.
Yeah.
Even then, you had some ownership sketchiness going on there.
Yeah, big time.
If you want to check that out, there's a good 30 for 30 on that one.
By the way, that is actually you're talking about the Islanders 30 for 30, right?
Yeah.
That's such I'm not gonna lie, I've been watching hockey all my life and everything. I never even knew about that 30 for or just that scenario that situation for the Islanders that happened with that old GM literally until I watched that 30 for 30 for the first time like a couple months ago, and it blew my mind.
Yeah.
It's such a great 30 for 30, very well done. It's awesome.
I mean, you used to be funny, Islanders, like signing Nick Pietro.
Words.
Yeah, they're hard. But now you're just annoying. Lou Lamoriello makes me even angrier because you put fucking Matt Martin in there. You're not playing Noah Dobson. That makes no sense.
I'll put it this way. So you mentioned 3 teams now that are on your top 10 list that you actually hate.
Yeah.
For me, Columbus, Montreal, and New York Islanders, that is currently, again, keyword currently, because the Islanders and Canadians, back in the day, I kind of would hate them, but now it's whatever. Currently, I don't hate the Blue Jackets, Islanders, or the Habs. They are just annoying to play against. Their style is very...
Ignore me. Do? Nothing.
What did you do? By the way,
I did nothing.
You have to send me that clip because I'm making that a GIF 100%.
No, you're not. No.
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 Come on, I got it. That was too good.
The perks of being the person that's recording.
I know. But hey, you got to send me that clip. Come on. You know what you got to do. Anyway, the Habs, Isles, and Blue Jackets, they're just annoying to play against. I don't have anything against them currently. Sorry, I can't even get through this right now. It's so great. But
would Lou qualify as your players you hate in your last one?
Player/GM, yeah. Also with Peter Chiarelli.
Oof,
yeah.
Fucked over fucking Connor McDavid and the Oilers.
And Mark Bergevin.
Yeah.
So all those guys are fit in for my number 5 spot.
Your 4?
Number 4, New Jersey Devils.
Okay. I was wondering where they were.
Yeah, the history of the Devils against them, the rivalry, It's been boiling and boiling throughout the 90s, early 2000s.
It still
died down, picked back up, and now it's died down. It's pretty low, but the rivalry, it will always be there, just like it will be with
And honestly,
the
all these could easily change because most of these are because of how well the teams played. Because easily, in a couple of years, if Carolina keeps playing well, Carolina could easily be in our top 10.
In your top 10. I love the Carolina Hurricanes, mainly because of Rod Brandon-Moore, but I love Carolina. I can't hate them.
Well, that's you. My number 3 is the Chicago Blackhawks.
I was waiting for that.
Yeah. For obvious reasons, because I hate Patrick Kane. He makes me almost not want to root for USA.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
I'll
USA.
put it this way. if scenario time, if the Flyers actually had the number 1 overall pick in 2007 and not second overall, and they drafted Patrick Kane, and he played for the Flyers his entire career, probably would have won a cup, maybe even 2 if he was on their team this entire time.
No.
You still hate him?
Yeah.
All right. Just had to ask.
Yeah. I can't do it. I can't like him.
All right, that's fair.
I think he's an asshole. He cherry picks. He's an asshole.
All right. That's a respectable answer. I'm fine with that. Yeah.
And obviously 2010.
Yeah. We don't ever talk about that.
Yeah.
Anyway, number 3, because you gave your number 4, right?
Yeah, I said the Isles.
It was Islanders, right? Okay. My number 3, again, the history. And also because all I would ever go to are these games when I was younger, and I loved every second of it. The New York Rangers, number 3. My dad and I, he would always take my brothers and I to specific games. My brother would always go to the games against Dallas Stars. His favorite player growing up was Mike Modano. My other brother, Dave, his team he would always get games taken to were the Devils, so he could see Scott Stevens play, and also because I know, but also because those were good games to see. For me, it was the New York Rangers. We hated the Rangers with a burning passion back in the day, and oh my goodness, my first ever game I went to for the Flyers, February 14th, 2004, Flyers-Rangers game. Flyers won 6-2. It was. I still had the ticket to this day.
Of course you do.
One of the best days in my life. Shut up. But that rivalry back in the day, and I'm not saying 2000s and everything, but I'm saying the 90s too. There were some vicious moments. I think they had some bad moments in the 80s together too, but it was more so 90s, 2000s. They had a really good rivalry. Now that the Rangers are going to have the number 1 overall pick and make themselves a little bit more relevant now, with most likely drafting Alexis Lafreniere, I really hope their rivalry gets amped up again because I love and will always respect Alexis Lafreniere. He's going to be a phenomenal, talented player. It will help this rivalry because the Flyers will realize how much of a pain in the ass it will be to play against Lafreniere. So this is going to help spark that rivalry. Number 2, Mike, go ahead.
Pittsburgh Penguins.
All righty.
For obvious reasons, Sidney Crosby.
I just realized something.
Malkin.
I think we're going the same route here.
Yeah. If obviously, and my hatred for them has died down a little because Crosby has stopped the whining as much as he did earlier in his career. That's really why the hatred was there more so. They had a lot more asshole players that did dumb shit
Matt
like
Cook, who I always
James Neal, Matt
Adams.
Adams.
I still hate Craig Adams.
Craig Adams, yeah. James Neal, who I just mentioned, who fucking blindsided Sean Couturier.
Yeah, I hate James Neal.
And always.
I lied. Sorry, he's also on my list, by the way, at number 5.
Also, let's not forget Jordan Staal when he was on the.
I don't
Penguins.
hate him. He just sucks.
Oh, I know. I'm just saying when he was on the Penguins, he was kind of an asshole.
He just sucks. I didn't like it. It's not that he was good. He just sucks.
Yeah.
I had a really tough time coming up with this, but the more I thought about it, the more I agree with you. Pittsburgh's number 2. They are no longer number 1 because we now probably have the same number 1 team. We'll talk about it in a second. But for the Penguins, again, it was all about Crosby and the hatred because, again, he wouldn't shut his mouth. He wouldn't stop diving. He wouldn't be –
guess who does that now? Who's going to be in the next one?
Yeah. He was the biggest pansy I saw on the ice, and it was so frustrating, and he was so easy to hate. And he would do these little hacks and whacks. He would dive everywhere. Not only that, Malkin was a pain. He still is. I don't like Malkin. He's also number 5 on that list, by the way, along with this guy who's going to be on both our number 1 teams. He's on the number 5 spot. But also, there's a huge rivalry history between the Flyers and Penguins all throughout ever existing. The Flyers have really handled the Penguins and just dominated them for 20 or not 20. I lied. Definitely less than 20 years. Whenever Mario Lemieux came in the league, that's when the rivalry forever changed because the Flyers, at a certain point, had not lost against the Penguins in like 10, 15 years. Every
Yeah.
contest they won. And majority of them were blowouts because the Penguins were that bad. That one year they tanked to get Mario Lemieux. What do you know? That changed the game forever for them and that rivalry.
Then they got Yogs.
Yeah, that was a game changing moment too. Alrighty, number one time.
Should be
Let's
obvious
say it
at this
together,
point.
Mike.
The
Let's say it
Boston
together.
Bruins.
The Boston Bruins.
Yeah.
They have
It's Brad Marchand.
taken over. Brad Marchand. He's
the number one. He's the number one pansy for me because he does the same exact shit. He does the same exact shit Crosby would do it. Yeah. What Crosby would do earlier in his career.
And that's the thing.
Marchand does now still.
That's the thing. Crosby he's matured. Marchand will never mature.
No, but even the little
he licks people in the face.
Yeah, Milbury.
He does that.
Yeah, Milbury's just that's just his game. That's just part of his MO. Is like what being an asshole. Just being an asshole constantly. That's his MO. Got it.
An asshole coming for an asshole. That's right.
That makes no sense. Also, Pierre. I think Pierre had him in his fucking finalist for the Selke.
He did.
That's so embarrassing.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Obviously, Pasternak's going to be the next person we hate just because he's going to be unbelievably good.
Yeah, Pastrnak is just too damn good, and just it
just sucks that in a couple years for him that he might not have such great line mates.
Yeah.
Which is great for us, not so great for Boston.
Right, because again, Bergeron's a couple years away from retirement, most likely. I say, how many more years for Bergeron? Do you say 4 at most?
At most, maybe a year or 2 left for Chara, if not.
I'd say a year for Chara. He's got to be done. He's